Trust, small world. So this is episode 21 and of Swing Hearts, where we talk baseball, we talk life, we talk experiences. We talk about just the great game of baseball and at the youth level, the high school level, the college level. And then sometimes sometimes we get lucky and we get to have a really big time guy on this episode. And today's one of those days. It's actually both days. You know, we don't describe players or people in the game of baseball. Baseball, I've always thought is a game of what you play. It's not who you are. And so, but the numbers that Coco, Chris, that I looked at that thing last night and then bringing in Steve Sapp. Today we have two gentlemen that were teammates and also now are best friends, are good friends. And then we got a future Hall of Famer in Coco Crisp on this on our episode 21. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah. Coco, I'm gonna and Steve's gonna chime in at any time, but first of all, the relationship starts like this. We know you guys know each other from back in 2002, 3. Is that what it was, Steve? That long back?
Yeah. We actually met courtesy of our trainer at that time, Robert Moore, more known in LA and through the world and baseball world as Big Money. He introduced us as I was coming out of my high school year and going into my first pro season and said, hey man, I got this great guy. He just made it to the show. First year, love for you to work out. You guys are both outfielders. You guys kind of look alike, this, that, and the other. We started training together in the off season and just took it from there.
Now, Coco, looking at your stats, 15 or 16 years in the big leagues, man?
15.
It was, because I'm not a great mathematician, but I counted 16 and I couldn't put the numbers right in there. So I'm a little off on a year, but
you know, I might be off. Everybody always says 16, but I'm pretty sure it's 15, but 2002 through 16.
Right.
I'm thinking that's 15. I'm not sure though.
You graduated from Inglewood High School down there?
Yeah, I went to 4 different high schools. I ended up graduating from Inglewood High. I went to Peninsula High School in Palos Verdes. Then I went to Westchester. From there, I went to Bernards and then Inglewood my senior year and graduated from there.
Did you get it? It's how funny. Did you play with Royce Clayton down there at St. Bernard's? Is he a little old? He's probably a little older than you. He's a little older.
Yeah, no, he was before me, but
yeah.
When I ended up going over to St. Bernard's, that was the guy. Like everybody was talking about Royce. He had just got drafted in the first round to the Cardinals, and we ended up playing in 2007 on the same team with the Red Sox, and we ended up winning the World Series together. But throughout that time, just having that bond from going to Bernards, at least he went there in his entire high school career. For me, it was a short period. But still having that bond of going to the same high school throughout professional baseball, we built a relationship and we ended up winning that World Series in 07 together.
Wow. Yeah. I look at that. You look at some baseball cards and you see 3-4 years. You look at your baseball card, that thing's got a long list of years and at bats and stolen bases and things. And I think it was 2008. What was the year you stole 49 bases? What was that year?
I couldn't even tell you.
Okay, you know what, Roy? I'm gonna tell you right now.
2011.
I want to say that was like 2010, 2011. That was an A year. You were with the A's.
I think 20. Yeah,
it was 11.
2011.
Yep.
Yeah. You
had 49 stolen bases. Of course, me being a coach, you had 9 times getting caught stealing. I don't know what the hell happened there.
Right.
Hey, that's a good question. When when you're in the big leagues, do you get the steal sign? Now, maybe not you. Is there a steal sign given, or is that a sequence? Is that, hey, I'm going to steal? You got an opportunity this at bat, or are you getting a straight steal sign?
Yeah, in the major leagues, there's not too many signs that go on, and unless it's like a crucial situation with like bunting, a bunt sign to advance a runner, and that's pretty much late in the season during crunch time playoffs and all that stuff, or vying for a playoff berth. But early on in my career, I didn't have the green light, and I ran a 6'2", like I could fly. But we had a young manager, and with that, you got to kind of play it safe. I understand that concept. People have different philosophies. But I got a lot of hit and runs and steal signs. And for me, for guys who can steal bases and learning how to become a base stealer, you got to have that freedom. You got to have that freedom to learn what you can and cannot do, as well as be able to show the ball club what you can and cannot do. And for me, early in my career, I didn't have that. And so when I went to Boston, when I got traded over to Boston, I just said the heck with it. Tito didn't really care though.
Yeah.
I didn't know he didn't care. But at that time, I made a decision. I was just like, you know what, forget it. I'm running. And that's when I decided just to go. And he didn't. Tito's mentality. He's a veteran, very intellectual coach. He just let guys go out there and play. I didn't know his personality at the time. I just had my own mindset that I was just gonna change it up. Take the green light, which I didn't have to do. But I ended up getting the green light over there.
But let me ask you now, Coco, you're at first base. There's 2 outs. You got Big Papi up there. He wants his RBIs. You get thrown out at second base in 1 year 9. You got to answer to Big Papi, or do you got to, or is it, hey man, that's how the game goes back there? Just curious.
Well, it depends. If Papi's hitting third and Manny's hitting behind him, I still second. Then we get Papi. Papi might not get walked. And if they do, then we got a 3-run home run, depending on the score. If we're down by 2, that 3-run home run can put us up.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the game, and I don't get thrown out that much. When I go, when I go, I'm not going for. And when I say that, it's not to put myself up on a high pedestal.
Hey, Coco, you can, Coco. Go ahead. We heard you. Go ahead.
No, my mentality behind it is I'm not trying to steal like 100 bases. And, when I go and all my diligence from studying the pitches and everything pregame, I have 100% chance in my mind that I'm going to make it. It doesn't pan out that way all the time. But when I go, I feel like I have 100% chance of making it. Sometimes I get thrown out, but I just don't run to run.
Hey, the art of stealing kind of going away a little bit in the major leagues. I don't know if I want to say the art of stealing, but the numbers have diminished a little bit. So guys, you may be the last guy. Yeah, I know Turner's got 32 this year with the Dodgers somewhere in there, but it's is it just because we have not fast guys anymore, or is that we're not that's not part of the game anymore of base stealing?
Yeah, the game changes often to small ball, and then when Kansas City was real hot with all their fast guys winning championships or making it into the playoffs, everybody was going small ball speed, and now it's gone back to launch angle home runs, which needs to be explained to these young kids watching YouTube exactly what that means.
Right on.
But the analytics and what people talk about, I don't think the understanding of it is explained correctly. The value is there on how to be able to take the old school concept of hitting versus the new school analytics and be able to bridge that with the conversation. But going back to the speed thing, it's just the game's changed more so to extra base hits, get the ball in the air because there's more hits because of analytics. There's more hits out there in the air. And I was brought up, there's more hits on the ground. I guess depending on your speed, though, kind of plays a part in it. But I love the small ball. I love baseball in its entirety, right? So when something's missing, then it's like a gap in the game. So I like the bunting. I like the gaps, the home run, the stolen bases, all that stuff.
No, I'm with you, man. I want to appreciate both you guys coming out, Coco. How this relationship started, Coco. I was a head coach at Glendale College. People are wondering, how do you get Coco Crisp on here? How do you get him? Well, first of all, you play against him. You got to coach against him at the college level. He's at Pierce College. Coco, you're at Pierce College, and you and I don't know anybody. All I know is I want to beat Bob Lafrano at Pierce. And all of a sudden, this guy lead off hitter. I'm like, where does Lafrano get Coco Crisp? How in the world do you end up at Pierce College? Please tell me that, because I'm pissed at Bob still. You had Barry Zito on the mound. You got Zito on the mound, and you're in center field, and I'm trying to beat a junior college team. I mean, how does that happen?
Well, how I end up over at Pierce was I was at Southern University, in
Okay.
Louisiana with Coach Kadar.
Okay.
And there's a story behind why I ended up in Louisiana being a California guy. But I was out there in Louisiana and I had redshirt my first year because my transcripts, the 4 different high schools, my transcripts didn't come in time. I was slated to start out there, but things got messed up with the clearinghouse back then.
Yeah.
Or I think that's what it was called.
Yep.
Back then it was a little different than it is now. And after that year of being out there in college in Louisiana, I came back and played in the Wood Bat League. And I played in 4 games. A kid was getting scouted out there. I was playing shortstop. A kid was getting scouted out there. Daryl Miller was one of the scouts that was out there in the stands.
Yep.
And I had four incredible games. I didn't get out one time. I had all extra base hits, a home run, like 4 triples, 2 doubles. I mean, like I was rolling. Then my last at bat during the 4th game, I hit a ball down the line in right field and I tried to get inside the park home run. I tripped around third and Daryl Miller called me off the field. And they signed me to they went in the cage. I went in the cage. I was nervous. Bat slipped out my hand, flying towards Daryl Miller, was throwing me BP. There's a whole story behind it. But anyway, I ended up signing as a free agent, but I was enrolled in a 4-year. So they had to void out that contract. And before that, coming from Inglewood going to Southern, I barely was able to find a college to go to. Like Southern gave me a chance. I had 85% scholarship. Very grateful for Coach Kadar and Southern University. But prior to that, basically every tape I sent out of myself, they sent it back to me. You know, it was like, nah, we don't need you. We don't want you.
And that's
And then I ended up getting signed as a free agent, having a great games. And I just kind of piggybacked off somebody else, got signed. And then everybody was like, who did they sign illegally? So instead of going back to a 4-year, they had to void out that contract. So instead of going back to a 4-year, I was like, I'm getting all this buzz now. I'm gonna go to a junior college.
Yeah.
And throughout my high school career and college career, even the preseason out there at Southern, like I hit over 400, 500 every year, right?
Against us, I think you hit 800. I'm just gonna say, all right.
And I had chances to go to Glendale, you know.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, you know what,
Pierce.
Coco? We're done with this freaking. You had chances, and we. Hey, not to cut you off, but here's the story I have of you, just so you know, okay? And I'm gonna be honest with this with my. Again, we got about 3,000, maybe 5 million listeners out there. By the way, tonight you got Yankees, Red Sox. You know that rivalry really, really well. I know that. But before we get to that, bigger rivalry goes on in my head is you're in center field. Zito's on the mound. We played Pierce 4 times that year. It's just a junior college rivalry, Pierce and Glendale. A lot of chirping went on, you know, Coco, a lot of chirping. Why? Because you guys, we knew you guys were good. But I remember Zito's up 1-0 on us in about the 7th or 8th inning. We had him back then. You didn't play 4 straight games. It revolved around. You played 12. You played your league. Then you came around 8 games later. 8 games. So every time we played Pierce, we had to face Barry Zito and Crisp in center. But we had a chance this game at Pierce on a Saturday. A ball hits the right center. It's 1-0 with 1 out. We got a guy at second base. How in the hell? I don't know how he got to second base, but we had a guy in second base. We had a chance of maybe having a chance to win this son of a bitch. And a ball gets hit to right center. And I'm telling you, I know you're out there, Coco. And I'm thinking, I know the guy's quick, but we got to send this. We have to. I remember making them going, I forget the guy's name. Let's go. It was not just kind of right center. This ball was down in any other field, any other center fielder, the ball's down. And Coco, you went out there and ran it down. Our guys right halfway to home, and you double them up at second base. And I remember staring out. We got beat 1-0. I remember saying, I will never like that man ever, that kid ever. And what it happens is, so game's over, we lose, blah blah blah. And then here's the human part of this. And here's what people don't get. You appreciate great talent. I appreciate great talent, and you have it, and you've coached at Shadow Hills, you've coached at Cerritos, you're coaching at the MILB, the new thing. Steve, you've been around, you've seen me coach your kid, and you appreciate the talent that's out there. And sometimes the parents don't just appreciate talent. Let the, they want to absolutely have an opinion or some sort of bullshit comment or what have you. But what I did, you go and do that. And I don't watch it. After that, I don't want to follow wherever this kid goes. I don't care what Coco Crest is. I don't want to know about his family, about his life. 2 years later, I see him in the big leagues. Or 3 years, when you're 22, I see him in the big leagues. And I don't follow. Every time you come to the plate, I sit back at the bar going, all right, yeah, I gave one of those. Yeah, I know that kid. Now, I don't know you. I don't know you at all. I know you beat me 4 times, but I love when guys sit back and go, yeah, I know that kid. No, we don't. I don't know. Yeah, and I know we laugh, but I don't know. Steve, we didn't know each other prior to this. How we got to know each other is the respect that we have for each other. And Coco, I got to imagine now, and I don't mean to get all serious there, but after a while, I'm looking at your stats. Goddamn right, you should be in Hall of Fame. Who else? If those aren't Hall of Fame numbers, you can kiss. And I Catholic school. But you can kiss my ass, man. All right. Some of that. But let's go back to this now. You go talk about switch hitting now. It's funny in one of the things that says you're an ambidextrous hitter. I thought, who says ambidextrous hitter? Can we just call it switch? But how tough is it? This is for the young kids out there, Coco. How tough is it out there to a kid says, I want to be a switch hitter. I give lessons. Your son, Steve, your kid hits right-handed. I know your boy is at Agoura High School, great high school. What's the commitment to hitting left to switch hitting? And why do young kids want to do it? Why did you want to do it? Let's go with that.
Well, I didn't have a say in it. My dad told me I was going to be a switch hitter. And I said, okay,
Who wanted you to be a switch hitter? I'm sorry, I missed that. Who wanted you to be a switch hitter?
My father.
Right on.
My father. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I just had the ability to be able to do it. Everything that I did when I was younger, I did with both hands anyway. Wow. Ping pong, shot basketball, everything like that. I started playing baseball at 9 and I started switch hitting at 10. But I think being a switch hitter, you have to first off, you have to love the game enough to be a switcher because you're going to have to put in twice as much work. I think one of the misconceptions of being a switch hitter is that you have to make both sides the same. It's you can try, and it might be easier if you can mimic your dominant side with your new side that you're trying to learn. But really, you're 2 different type of hitters because you have 2 different strength. Your lead eye might not be your dominant strong eye, on one side. I mean, it's not on one side and it's the other side. So you're going to be 2 different type of hitters. You're going to have 2 different sets of strength and weaknesses, and you might have different stances, and you have to learn how to be a great hitter on both sides. You have to know what your strength and weaknesses are on your right side so you can learn how to defend them or make them better. On your left side, you have to know your strength and weaknesses so you can defend those or make it better. And you try to stay within your strengths on both sides to be a great hitter on both. But a lot of guys just try to be the same person on both sides, which then you get coaches after that, it doesn't quite work out. And they're like, man, maybe you should just be a right-hand hitter, or maybe you should just be a left-hand hitter. But it's because sometimes kids, try to be the same person. You got to be 2 different great people.
God, hey man, so you want to first look at your own strengths and weaknesses from both sides. That's from constant repetition. You got to see, like, is your kid switch hitting at Agoura?
No, he's just a right-hand hitter. My Caden, he's not coordinated on his left side as much as his right side. He can hit from his right side well, but my 10-year-old, he's actually about to be 11. He's a switch hitter. Right on. Right. And so, and you can, and Steve, I know Sean's not a switch hitter, right?
No, absolutely not.
No. The guy's 6'9" in there, but what I heard you say, he's not coordinated enough. That's not a mean thing. That's not a mean thing to tell. That's your son. I've got 2 boys. That's not a mean thing to tell hitters. We want to let guys know, first of all, the hit is tough enough. Yeah. And why do you want to, do you agree, Steve?
Absolutely. Denny, I was actually going to piggyback off of that last story. One little Snapple fact you should know about Coco is that he just didn't stop putting in that work on trying to be ambidextrous, as they say when baseball stopped. he'll practice things left-handed just so he can beat you left-handed,
That guy.
knowing that he's right-handed.
You know
And
what?
takes enjoyment after it. So trust me, he works like that. And he's probably, I don't know if the camera's backwards or not. He's probably drinking that Gatorade left-handed right now. I don't even know.
Yeah. You know what he's doing? Yeah, he's walking on a ball right now, balancing himself just to challenge himself more and more and more.
Exactly.
No, I get it.
That's funny.
I love there. It's like whatever you do, you're just competitive. I could see it. I remember watching you. Now, hey, I heard your dad was a boxer. Now, is that right, Coco? Your dad boxed a little bit.
Yeah, he boxed a little bit.
Did you box at all as well, Coco? Because we're going to segue into one video that I may have seen in 2008, but because I don't know. I'm sorry, Coco. I can see the head dropping right now, but before I go on, I call my son Brady. He's 21. He's an MMA fighter. He's got 3 professional fights, and he's got one coming up in Long Beach, and he's in a 165. He loves it. But so I don't know. He knows Coco Crisp. And I say, hey man, I got an amazing guy come on today. I've reached the pinnacle of episode number 21. I got Coco Chris. How'd you get him? Well, Steve Sapp, big guy, met in the gym. He's huge. He wanted me to say that. So then Coco, he says, I first said Camille Crisp, and he says, he goes, oh wow. Then I go Coco Crisp, and he says, wait, Coco Crisp? He goes, watch the slide move when he charges the mount and backs off and throws over. And I know, I don't know if I mentioned something, but he knew that video better than, and I had never seen it. And so how did you know that sweet move, Coco? How'd you know that when Shields gave that overhand cross to you right there?
Yeah, like my dad boxed, and when I was younger, he taught me a few things, right?
I saw one of them. But, I saw one. So did Shields.
So I never ran at somebody to fight them before. That was the first time. Usually you just kind of, you square up, you dance around, you do the whole boxing thing. So running up to somebody is a little different. So I called my dad. I told him tune in because I can go over the story exactly what happened. But with what happened, I called my dad. I was like, hey, tune in. I'm charging them out if they hit me. I was informed that they were going to hit me prior. So that conversation, it was a valid conversation because I knew I was going to get hit.
Right.
And then I also told the manager at Terry Francona, I was like, they're going to hit me with the ball. I'm charging them out. And he just kind of shocked a little bit. And he's like, okay. So anyway, that came, my bat came, my plate appearance. I thought they were usually they don't hit you your first plate appearance, but Shields did. And I have nothing against Shields even to this day, even though, it was just, he was the person that got to hit me, and he hit me in the leg, which was awesome.
Right,
we were supposed to no head, honey, anything like that. He's a California dude also, but so he hit me with the ball, and I'm running to him, and my dad, during the conversation I had, said, make sure you swing first. That's always kind of the concept anyway. Make sure you hit him first. Yeah. So as I'm running towards him, which I have never done before, I'm like, okay, make sure I hit him first. My dad's voice in my head. And then I see, and then that training comes in to where if you see on the videos, you see as I'm running to him, his hands separate like this. Yeah. I saw that and I was like, oh shit, I'm not going to be able to hit him first. So I moved out the way, and he threw like a 95 miles per hour right hand, sort of a hook thing. And I was able to barely get out the way, else I would have been spinning in the air. It'd have been a different conversation. But I was able to, kind of dodge it.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
No. Yeah.
It looked like so the pitch comes in. I want to know, and it comes in. What I didn't like, I'll tell you what I didn't like. And I'm watching this thing over and over again, and you came out there, and I get it. That's awkward. Charge a mount. And I don't think what I didn't like is this. After the punch was thrown, Gomes, whoever jumping in after that, man, then you were defenseless, man. If you watch it on YouTube, all of a sudden, whatever the guy was coming over, and I know this is a kid's youth and so forth, but your dad, like my dad, Mo's dad, you got to take care of yourself. But are you friends with Gomes and those guys today, or is that over? Is that
we end up being teammates? Teammates.
Okay.
The next year, we end up working out at AP up in Arizona together. Athletics Performance Institute. Yeah. And that was fine. And then we end up being teammates with Oakland later date, a couple years later or something like that. So we're cool. Gomes is funny. It's just, you know what, when you're in the heat of the moment, you got your team and you're out there. I charge his teammate and I'm fighting.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes, and we're swinging. It's not like the old pushing and shoving, like we're swinging. So, you know, it is what it is. You know,
Hey,
we're brawling. You know, I'm not going to expect a teammate of Shields to come over and be like, hey, buddy, you know, let me help you up, you know. So it's all right, you know,
hey,
it's fine.
hey, tell me about you coach at Shadow Hills, right? I know that for a couple of years or high school. And what do you advice for the big listeners today on these young kids today? What to do to keep playing? What are you seeing out there today for a guy to, I don't care if it's 9U up to 15U, just keep playing, right? I mean, I'm not giving the advice. What do you suggest out there? You got more experience than anybody out here.
As far as keep playing, like have the mentality or try to find places to play.
Both.
Which
Well said,
both?
man. Well said. Is
I
there a place?
guess.
Is there a place? Is there a place? You know, here's my problem, Coco. I'm so goddamn excited talking to you. I can't fucking excuse me, we're gonna edit that out. I can't flip and put a thought straight. I got more stuff over here I want to throw at you, and this old unorganized son of a bitch. I'm telling you right now, we'll edit this out. But I'm like a freaking whatever you want to freaking say, Coco. Just say it, man. I'm all in. You know? Let me start this over. Let me start over. In your career, you hit 265, 130 home runs, 639 RBIs, 309 stolen bases. From there, you went that rejuvenating baseball in the inner city. Was that a big help to you? I remember when that started. I remember Roberto Clemente Jr. had a big I worked there as well. What a small world. And to find out you played over at Compton, was that a big deal for you down there to keep your game, to keep playing?
It was, you know, back, you know, when I grew up, when we grew up, and travel ball wasn't as relevant as it is or prevalent as it is now, right? It's everywhere. It's everywhere
right
now. So reviving baseball in the inner city, or rejuvenating baseball in the inner city, like you said, was huge for me. It gave me the ability to play outside of little league, play with guys that were really good, which pushed me to try to be better than them. It gave me a different look from the area that I lived in to going into like a little tougher area, and becoming getting a little more grit in my game as well, learning that side of it, as well as being able to travel outside of California. We went to Seattle, we went to Philadelphia, and we ended up forming a team from that inner city club that I played with, the best of the inner city club, and we made our California team, and we played against other teams for the first World Series, RBI World Series in '95, and we ended up winning that one. But it gave me experience, more experiences, life experiences, and it actually grew the love of baseball for me, because I was able to cultivate friendships and be able to travel outside the city and kind of see how that part of baseball can bring you joy.
What'd you learn, man? What'd you learn, you know, being a youth player? If you can go back to that time, I coach a travel club, batters, like to get your kid out there. I mean, I had Steve's kid and he left us. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was a coaching or something like that. Steve, thanks.
His contract wasn't renewed, didn't we? We had to go where the contract was.
We traded him for a player to be named later and some money. That's it, man. All right. That's it. But Coco, if you can go back a little bit, if you can, is where you're coaching today, and suggestions, advice. I hate advice. Suggestions, or what kids can do today just to keep playing this game, whether it's mentally or physically or what have you. That's kind of it.
I think the main thing that helped me, or I should probably say I was fortunate to have like-minded people around me when I was younger. You know, I collect baseball cards. I played baseball video games. I went outside and played pickle, 3 flies up. And all that time I had like-minded people around me that wanted to do the same thing. So that helped us be able to trade baseball card, look at stats on the back of the card. I knew everybody's stats back then because I didn't want to trade away the wrong card, but it grew my love for the game.
Yeah.
And we played, you know, home run derby with a tennis ball over my uncle's house, at, you know, hanging with my cousins, and they played baseball, just staying around people like my friend Steven, you know, we ran the beach together and worked out, you know, just constantly surrounding myself with like-minded people that had similar goals or similar love for what I had passion for. That helped with me staying focused, because if I got off track, if I'm around a like-minded person, well, somebody's going to be on track and they're going to pull you back. Same thing from the flip side of it. You know, if I'm going to run the beach and I'm calling like, hey, where you at? He's like, oh, I want to, sorry. I'm like, man, come on. And you got to get up and come run, you know? So that definitely helps, having people around you that can push you and keep you on track and have that same passion. I think with that, just depending on your support system. I was very fortunate with my dad and my mom that they would find places for me to play. They knew I loved the game. They'll find places like RBI for me to play, or back then it was called Compton Academy, which is another inner city. I think it's still going. It's California Academy now. Okay. But with so many travel ball systems, I don't know if they're still going, but that was a place that I played in, as well as like a Reds travel ball team back then. So they just kept finding me places to play, which was a lot harder back then. But having that good support system and then having that circle of kids that you're constantly around, they're playing in places, you know, and then you can kind of piggyback off of them. So it kind of works together in that sense. But I think just honestly having that support system and surrounding yourself with people that view the game similar to you.
Who was the I don't need to know name, but most influential an influential coach or characteristic of a coach that you appreciate? I'm thinking, Steve, I can ask you that question, but it's not so much who's the coach, but almost a characteristic of a certain coach. In my old age now, I wish more coaches would allow kids to fail a little bit, as opposed to constantly correcting them before they even fail, or a constant correction. I think self-correction is huge in this game of baseball. Now, they need some coaching, but a guy like Coco Crisp or Steve Sapp working with the kid, if you're constantly, man, I mean, in this kid's ear, you know, I'm not sure a kid's going to get anything out of it. Just a thought.
Yeah, Cole, if you don't mind, let me jump in first. I honestly, I would say, when I'm working with a kid now, it's outside of Sean, right? So that's a different relationship, different understanding, different work ethic, this, that. But if there's another kid that I'm bringing in, I kind of take a combination of some of the best coaches that I had. You know, my high school coach, my senior year, was phenomenal. Steve, I didn't play for you, Denny. I didn't play for you.
Okay, so that's all right. I can handle it. Go ahead.
But like my high school coach, Harry Jenkins out of West Torrance, he was phenomenal. He was great. I had another coach who I think Coco knows too, who coached me in RBI when I played for the LA team. And going back, Coco won the first World Series with them. I won the World Series against the Dominican with RBI representing LA back in 2001. So he was a few years ahead of me, but we kind of kept that torch going. But I had a coach named Tom Butler Sr., who was actually a scout for the White Sox.
Yes.
And
I know Tom.
And Tom, and rest in peace, great guy. He made the game so much fun because he took the guys who had talent and allowed us to have both sides of the ball. It wasn't just I'm gonna praise you because you're great. It was calling you out when you weren't. I mean, Denny, you know this. I was drafted as an outfielder, right? And I remember being in one game, and during the game, he yells out, "Hey, Sapp, can you play first base?" And I'm like, "Yeah, wherever you need me, coach, whatever." He's like, because you're no fucking outfielder. I'm like, oh my God. In the middle of the game, coach, this is what we're doing this right now?
Yeah.
And then, and then even after I played with my senior year in high school, I played with the Mariners scout ball team, and we played against Butler.
Yeah.
And I could move around the field a lot. So they actually let me play shortstop a couple times. I remember playing again. I remember him seeing me as shortstop, and just as loud as he was the first time in the middle of the game, seeing me and said, "They must be out of infielders."
That's it. That's him, man. Yeah, that's exactly right.
But that type of rapport that I had with him allowed me to have fun in the game and really like take away, because I was very serious. You know, my life was dedicated to baseball, working out, doing this, doing that. And when I could go out there and let all the hard work show on the field and have fun, you know, how can I not take that to the next generation as far as like what worked for me? Well, this worked for me. Maybe it'll work for you. And that's not even like a physical thing, right? That's just a mental thing of having fun with people and kids and letting them love the game as well, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. You agree on that, Coco? Anything to add on that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, everybody has some great influence. Obviously, to make it's tough to make it on your own in anything, right? You need that support system. You need those people to guide you, and people like Butler and yeah, I know I knew him well too. Like, yeah, being in the inner city and playing the game there, he's funny.
Yeah.
Definitely funny, you know. And there's a lot of guys like that. And for me, it came kind of in that similar circle with like Gerald Pickens and um, uh, Big Money. Well, Robert Moore, who we talked about before, is huge help. Brian Giles, for me, and the Brian Giles I'm talking about, he's a black Brian Giles. There's the white Brian Giles, there's black Brian Giles. He played infield for like the Padres and stuff like that. So he really helped me as far as the hitting side or the fielding defensive side went. But real funny. And these are like big leaguers or people that's got a little bit of time in the big league, and to see their personalities and how humble and normal they are really helped me as far as like perspective of who I wanted to be later on in life, if this hard work paid off as well. Like Brian Giles, he was always like joking around and laughing and just normal, hanging around the family. Same thing with Big Money. You know, he just always just, you know, he played in the big leagues, played 19 years of professional baseball, and, you know, just normal, you know, fun, loving guy. So not only their help and their words of wisdom, but just who they were and how they carried themselves as, in my eyes, like a big leaguer. Like I'm getting lessons and trained by like a big leaguer, and how they were just normal and cool and funny and all that stuff. You know, I just wanted to make sure that, you know, people always, well, some people say you change, but I think, you know, they expect they expect more from you, so they feel like you change, but you don't. But I wanted to kind of be like them in that sense, where you just stay the same. You're just normal. You know what I mean? Instead of being a dickhead or whatever people are. You know what I mean? But yeah, they're huge influences in my in my early career and later.
No, Coco, there's a lot of dickhead. Thank you. That's a very professional statement from a future Hall of Famer. There's a lot of dickhead.
How else can you put? I don't know. You know.
In fact, when you get that Hall of Fame at ceremony, thank all the dickheads. Okay, just thank them all. That comes out first. All right. Yeah, all the guys that didn't give you a shot or a chance. No, what I'm hearing you guys, and I'm hearing you both say is we get older too, as I'm coaching, and I don't think I'm a great coach. What I try to do is just be a good relationship guy. These kids, there's a lot of stuff goes on in these young kids. Your boys, my boys. There's a lot of stuff out there that's going on. And I like to make the game of baseball as they come out today more therapeutic, a little more, not therapy. Yeah, therapeutic in a sense where come out and enjoy yourself a little bit, man. When I'm hearing you guys say to Tom Butler, so I knew Tom would come out, he'd come up to me, and I'm coaching, and he'd say, "Hey, Barrett, maybe are you gonna coach today, maybe?" And I just, "Shit, Tom, I'm doing that." That was his lead in line every time. "Can you coach these kids today, maybe? Can you?" And he was being sarcastic. But we have to laugh at ourselves and this stuff. And you guys can see Tom saying that, can't you? You can say it.
Sure. Yeah. That sounds like the bare minimum, Denny. That's
exactly
like
right.
That's the introduction. That's how he's starting it off.
No, man, he did it with a big old smile on his face. I could see it. But I see what you guys went out and played these constant drills and constant on these guys. You guys went out and played. Only way we're gonna see your talent, Coco or Steve, is out there playing. Only way That ball you caught at Pierce College back in 1997, you don't hit fungos to the gaps to see if Coco's going to run it down. We don't. We hit fungos at guys. We hit fungos kind of come through the ball, crow hop, go back on balls, little drills. That ball that was hitting the gap at Pierce College, son of a gun, nobody catches that. Steve, I apologize. I don't think you catch that ball because you're a first baseman.
Hey, wait a minute.
But I'll tell you, the ball, and again, you've had so many of those, you don't remember. But I will tell you, I remember. That's my memory. And I saw it, and I know it was you, and I watched it, and I hated you for 16 years while you're in the big leagues. I said, son of a gun, fail. But not today. Last thing here, man. Coco, the Red Sox Yankees game that's going on in this playoffs. Is it a different season in postseason? Is it different for you guys? Is the mentality different in the clubhouse for these major leaguers and even the Yankees and Red Sox tonight? What's going on today for you? If you're a Yankee or if you're a Red Sox, what's going on today?
Right. To be honest, I personally try to approach it the same way. In my earlier days, playing in the big leagues, those moments would get to me a little bit, just because I hadn't figured out how to relax. And for me, it was all about breathing, as simple as that kind of sounds. It's just remembering to breathe. And I'll go about my same routine throughout the day. I'll get there, be the first one of the first ones there. If not the first one there, take care of what I need to take care of as far as getting my body right, and then going to hitting the cage, do all that stuff. But my preparation, even for like playoffs, and now when you're in the playoffs, it's a little different because now you're getting different requests from people. So, but leading up to it, trying to make it into the postseason, it's pretty much the same, except there might be a little bit more pressure. So just as I got older, it's just remembering to breathe. Like if I'm in the on deck circle, getting ready to hit, not putting too much pressure on you, just making sure you breathe and think about your approach that you're going to have against this pitcher, staying within yourself and all that stuff, instead of thinking about other stuff. And then now you forget about actually hitting and what your approach is up there at the plate, so slowing all that down, being able to stay in the moment, focus, just tune in on the pitcher, not see nothing else or whatever the situation may be. That helped me later on in my career, not worrying about the magnitude of the game, just remember to breathe and staying within my approach, but early on it was a little daunting, being in some of those situations.
Yeah, I bet it was. Hey man, I swear to you, I could talk all day long. I could just, I know you can't, I can, because I got nothing to do today. Okay. But I can't, I do want to get though, if you have any more of those Coco freaking crisp t-shirts, I saw it online. It said, have you seen it yet, Coco? It says Coco freaking crisp. I don't know if you have one of those.
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Look it up. It's on, I think it's
Okay.
on your the team. I was stalking you last night, Googling up, Sam, and there's a t-shirt that says Coco freaking crisp. And I went, okay, I'll take one of those. It's got to be one of those. Look it up. We talked about the brawl. There was a haircut you had in one of your Oakland A's pictures. That hair's out to here. Was that you? Was that really you?
Yeah, that was all my hair.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I had a few different unique haircuts. That was kind of like my thing.
Yeah.
So I had some ugly ones. I had some real ugly ones, and I had some stylish ones. I look back at some of them, I scratch my bald head now.
I will tell you, I go on. I appreciate you being on, Steve. I appreciate you putting us together after all these years, and I mean it, man. That the thought of you seeing you and then getting a chance to actually speak with you. I should have went up after the game in '98 and whenever that was, and said, hey man, you're a hell of a player. You're a hell of a player, and good luck to you. Of course, I had to go chew on my team for losing a 0-0. That's how selfish and self-centered I was. Shit. Goes on to the big leagues, and I'm pissed at my JC team for not beating these guys. I would like to tell you, I think you're a Hall of Fame dude. I think you're just a Hall of Fame guy, and good luck to you and your family. And I'm at Notre Dame High School. We got Steve at Crespi, you're at Agura, and we'll cross paths, man. And I just can't thank you enough for being on here, you guys. Okay.
Yeah, anytime. Thank you for